Minshew fires along the left sideline. That ball is caught for the touchdown by Chris Conley. Minshew to Conley for the score, and Jacksonville has retaken the lead.
This is the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey have all the news and information you need to get you ready for today's game. The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, Geico, and by TIAA Bank. Now to get things started, here are
There's no bigger story than a change at quarterback. Jake Luton is the starter today, the rookie out of Oregon State, and head coach Doug Marrone likes the way he's gone about his business.
He doesn't act like a rookie, meaning he's not a starry-eyed guy. Just kind of came in and went to work, 6th-round draft pick, just working hard and really went about things, professionally. And, because of where we were in training camp, his reps were limited. I wouldn't say they were, over the top, but they were good. He was doing what we asked.
Luton started his college career at Idaho, went to Ventura College for a year after that, and then on to Oregon State. He got a 6th year of eligibility granted by the NCAA, and he made it pay off last year in his 6th year senior season. How did he find out he was starting? And he reflected on that path to the NFL this week.
Coach Marrone called me in late last week and told me the news, said to get ready, and they were excited for me. Talked to Coach Gruden and McAdoo, and I'm excited. I can't wait to get out there and get to just play football, get to be out there with the guys, and I'm real fired up. Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've always dreamed of, since I was a little kid, and it's something I've always, really strived for, battled through some things, and, I've had my journey just like, everyone else has, and so it's something I take pride in, the journey that I've had and the road it took to get here, and like I said, I'm just excited. I'm proud to be here and ready to get out there and play for the Jags.
So here we go. Jake Luton, 6th-round pick, Mike, 6'6", big arm.
Yeah.
But we haven't really seen it since training camp.
No, we haven't really. Right, exactly. I didn't even get to see it at all in training camp with the way the schedule worked out. But I heard reports that he threw the ball well. Training camp, we understand, is more like a glorified 7-on-7 on a daily basis for the most part. So, you're not going to get hit. We'll see how he responds today. But I think not only is he excited, I think Jaguar fans are excited, JP, because you're not going to have your regular guy Minshew, and we understand the circumstances. He's not healthy enough to play. I mean, Mike Glennon, no offense to him, but he's not the answer long-term for this franchise. Not saying Jake Luton is, but at least there's an air of mystery around him, what he could mean as maybe a career backup, a trade chip. Could he play his way into a larger role in the future and maybe show that he could contend for a starting job? All those things are possible. I think most people feel like they've seen what Mike Glennon is about at this stage of his career, and I think the Jaguars made the right move on all those fronts.
Difficult task, though, today for Luton to jump in for his first outing in the NFL, according to offensive coordinator Jay Gruden.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be easy for a rookie. First game, he hadn't taken a lot of reps with the first team. In fact, I don't think he's called one of our plays in the huddle since training camp. So it will not be easy for him. It's his job to be prepared mentally, make sure he goes through the right progressions, handles himself in protections, gets the ball deep to James Robinson when he hands it off, and does things right, what he's been taught this whole process. So it's going to be a great challenge for him, but we feel good about his demeanor, his work ethic. We feel like he's mentally prepared, but now we just have to wait and see. But we'll do the best we can to make it as easy as possible for him, but it never is.
We'll see if they can keep that offense balanced a little bit for him. Obviously, James Robinson back there playing well also, and that could be a quarterback's best friend to get that run game going a little bit.
Oh, no question. And look, with those linebackers missing today, Whitney Merciless, Jacob Martin, you might feel that you've got a chance to really exploit that if you're the Jaguars. And James Robinson, to me, JP, hasn't just been the offensive MVP. He's been the overall MVP of this football team through 7 games. So why wouldn't you lean on him early? He's shown he can handle a big workload. He's good in the passing game. So if Luton gets in trouble, he's got a check down outlet as well. I would expect a heavy dose of James Robinson today.
But boy, we want to see that big arm, don't we?
Sure. But you know what? We know it's great. Get Robinson rolling, and then let's see that big arm on play action and take some shots down the field.
Let's go to defense. Another matchup with Deshaun Watson today. He is 5-0 as a starter against the Jags in his career, including a win earlier this year. Pass rush, of course, key. Defensive coordinator Todd Wash explaining how it can improve.
We've done a lot better job getting them on 3rd and 7+, which allows Our defensive line, obviously, to pin their ears back. It's not a 50-50 down for them. And then we've also been bringing a little bit more pressure, statistically have shown not only on just first and second down, some run stopping pressures. And then on third down, we bring in a little bit more pressure. But I think a lot of it has to do with just getting those guys in 3rd and 7+ situations.
We're going to hear a little bit later today from Jason REBROVICH, the defensive line coach, on the development. And it has been a little slow going in the pass rush game for those young pass rushers, Josh Allen, Caleb Unchason. But at some point, the rubber's got to hit the road, and it's got to start sticking on the field and get home to get to the quarterback.
I hear what Todd Wash is saying. Statistically, they are near the middle of the pack in terms of pressure, but they haven't been able to get the quarterback on the ground. They've only had 6 sacks through 7 games, and that's the thing with Deshaun Watson. You pressure him, but don't get him on the ground, well, he can kill you because he'll escape that pressure. He'll extend the play. He can make plays with his feet, obviously, in the running game as well. And as we've said, he hasn't lost a game versus the Jaguars in his career as a starter, 5-0. And that's been one of the problems. You think you've got this guy contained, he breaks out, and he breaks your back.
We saw it in London last year, especially in that football game. He ran all over Wembley Stadium a year ago. Josh Allen missed some time this year with a knee issue, but after the bye, he's in better shape. He's explaining the mindset this week of taking care of his body, a little different than it was back in college.
I know in college, if that happened to me in college, I probably would have been playing hurt, which was probably not smart. But my mindset was always going. And then once I'm here in this situation now and in the highest level, I got to start taking care of myself and take care of my body because my body is what gets me to be the best. And if that's not 100%, then I can't go. So once I started to think like that, started to think like a professional, I started to become relaxed and just get back healthy, just get back as soon as I can.
Sometimes it takes a young player a little bit of time to figure out how to approach the day-to-day work in the NFL, and I think Allen has made that adjustment a year or so into his career here. It is a little different approach from college where you can, not dedicate your full day's work to what you do. I mean, you have a lot of other things going on in school. But here, it's the job, and if the body's not right, then you're not going to be right as a player.
Well, all these guys in college, Josh Allen shows up, he's better than most of the guys he's going to play against. And so, you don't necessarily have to go to the nth degree in terms of preparation. But in the NFL, everybody is really, really good, and the degrees of separation are so small. That is what defines a really great player. Does he take full advantage of all his potential? So Josh Allen's trying to do that with nutrition, workout habits, all that stuff. Hasn't translated to on-the-field success this year, though, with the 2 sacks, and neither one of those was really of the game-changing variety. So hopefully second half of the year it's going to be more like his rookie season.
Today's opponent, the Houston Texans, 1-6. Their only win against the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. They didn't make any deadline deals for trade. CECIL Shorts III, a former Jags and Texans receiver. He now covers the Texans on Sports Radio 610 in Houston, and he gave us the state of the franchise currently.
Romeo Crennel and the organization, Kyle McNair and those guys, they think they're better than what they are. So they're trying to do the best they can with what they have. They still have a flicker of hope that they can turn this thing around. But to be honest, when you got number 4 back there and you got some guys that can make plays on the offense, I understand where they're coming from. But the state of the franchise is they still have hope. They're still going to fight. They're still trying to win.
Yeah, and we'll hear a little more from CECIL coming up. The full extended conversation available now on the official podcast network presented by ViStar. But CECIL there, they didn't make deals. They don't have any draft equity coming up, really.
No.
So they've got to stick with the players they have, or they may not have much of anything at all.
Well, the only kind of deals they were rumored to make would have been selling players off. Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks said to be coveted to some degree by the Green Bay Packers. They obviously opted not to go that direction. Fuller particularly was connected with a potential deal there, but he's on the last year of his rookie deal, and the Packers didn't want to make that kind of investment. But Fuller and Cooks, we saw Cooks last time out against the Jaguars. Those guys are really good receivers. They can hurt you. Randall Cobb, Kenny Stills, Jordan Akins, Darren Fells at tight end. They've got enough weapons to make that passing game work for Deshaun Watson.
There you have it, some of today's top stories. The Jaguars Game Day radio broadcast is presented by ViStar Credit Union. If you believe free checking is better, join ViStar. That's checking with no fees and no minimums. No kidding. At ViStar, they never forget that it's your money. Time for our weekly visit with the head team physician for the Jags, Dr. Kevin KAPLAN of Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
And how much, as a team doctor, do you
look at the field condition and how much can that affect some injuries for guys?
Yeah, I think this is actually the first time that we've faced this situation where we had to play the day after Florida, Georgia. And we've had discussions internally with the athletic trainers and also with the NFL to really keep a close eye on if field conditions are going to be a factor or going to be an issue. We worry about divots and the grass and whether or not guys are going to be more prone to have things like ACL injuries. And that's a definite concern. We saw that back when there was that game in Mexico where they were worried about the field conditions. So a definite concern in regards to injury and player status.
Another obviously big point this week, the Houston Texans had a positive case and some contact tracing. A handful of players won't be with the team today, including Whitney Merciless. He's one of the contact tracing players who won't play. They're having internal issues down there in their building. The Jags had it a couple weeks ago with some contact tracing things, especially in the practice squad. And it seems like there's some more of these cases popping up around the league. But with the Texans case, they're coming to Jacksonville, and, we'll see if there's any other changes before game time. But that's certainly notable for this week. Yeah,
and for better or worse, that we've done a really good job league-wide in terms of trying to control this from getting away from us, so to speak. And the contact tracing is a way for us to do that. So, if I walk into the stadium, I get a tracer, and wherever I go, whoever I interact with, that's recorded through these tracers. So if someone tests positive, then they look back in the history of the tracers and see, okay, who is in contact for what period of time? Is that a high risk? And certainly that's not very beneficial for the Texans in terms of a game status, but in terms of player health and safety and staff safety, I think it's really been a phenomenal plan set up in order to try to prevent this from getting out of control. But there's also that fear of guys having been exposed and then testing positive post game or the day after, and who do they interact with, and certainly the guys on the field are up in close and personal with these guys and tackles and plays, and so it's a definite concern, and we're watching it just as closely as the Texans are.
There you have it. Dr. Kevin KAPLAN of Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute reports this morning, though, of no new positive tests around the league.
Yeah,
so that's good news.
Absolutely.
So Week 9 is on schedule today at 1 o'clock. Farah reminds you to continue to wear a mask. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. We're just getting started on the Publix Tailgate Show. We're back with defensive line coach Jason REBROVICH. He'll take us inside the development of the Jaguars' young pass rushers. The Texans and the Jaguars tee it up today at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Hey Jaguars fans, are you ready to talk some trash? Well, nobody talks trash quite like Waste Pro, the official waste service and recycling partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Specializing in residential and commercial solid waste and recycling collection, processing, and disposal, Waste Pro is equipped to handle all your recycling and garbage removal needs. For service, call 904-731-7288. Waste Pro, caring for communities and caring for Jacksonville.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're hitting refresh now, palm tree swaying now, letting loose now, busting a move now, cranking up the beats now, hands in the air now, feeling free now. You're on Tropic time now. And right now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, try our watermelon mojito and guava margarita smoothies. And you're tasting fruity now, sipping sunshine now, toasting summer now. You're on Tropic time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
In Florida, bicyclists have the same rights and responsibilities as everyone else on the road. So when you ride, follow the rules. Always wear a helmet and use lights on your bike. And drivers, watch for cyclists. Give them space to ride. And don't forget, when making that right on red, look to your right first to see if a cyclist is approaching in the bike lane. We all have a responsibility to keep ourselves and each other safe. Alert today, alive tomorrow. Because safety doesn't happen by accident. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Jaguars fans, let's tackle social injustice together on game days with Selfies for Change. Visit TIAAbank.com/selfies for change to take a virtual selfie with a Jaguars player and unlock a $5 donation to the Jaguars Foundation to help fight social injustice. Share your photo on Instagram or Twitter using hashtag Selfies for Change so more fans can be part of the movement. Join us on game days at TIAAbank.com/selfies for change. TIAA Bank is the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey Jags fans, heading to TIAA Bank for a game? Take advantage of Jags Pay and keep your stadium transactions touch-free. Jags Pay is an all-new partnership between the Jaguars and Tap It to give our fans a contactless payment option for all concessions and merchandise. It's fast, safe, and easy to use. Just download the official Jaguars app on any mobile device, tap Jags Pay, and set up your secure payment method. You're all set. To learn more, visit jaguars.com/JagsPay. See you at the bank.
Jaguars Game Day presented by ViStar Credit Union. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park Studio as the Publix Tailgate Show rolls along. Texans, Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock. This portion of the Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. And we're going to talk defensive line here, Mike, with Jason REBROVICH, defensive line coach. He's been around here now in his second year as the D-line coach. He was the assistant for 2 years before that, so he's been here for a little bit now and worked with a bunch of different guys on this defensive line unit over the years. But now he's got some young pass rushers, a young interior player that a lot of people are really excited about, and Devon Hamilton, who had a great game last time out. And how these guys play the rest of the year and develop and improve, I think, will be a huge storyline.
Well, absolutely. They have some young pieces, but they haven't been a good unit collectively, right? We've documented it well. The guys they lost that were on the team last year, guys that they had signed that they thought they were bringing in to reinforce the defensive line. You had opt-outs, you had injuries, retirements, all kinds of different scenarios. And Chason is making the transition from being a stand-up linebacker who rushed the passer to a hand-on-the-ground kind of guy, and he hasn't made that transition fully yet. It hasn't clicked completely. And while Hamilton has shown some sparks, he's not able to get it done by himself in there. They're just not getting enough good play, I think, out of their defensive tackle group, JP. So there's a lot of room for growth on this unit.
Let's hear from Jason REBROVICH, Jaguars defensive line coach. The young pass rushers and the interior starting to improve as well.
With defensive line coach Jason REBROVICH, here we go into week 9, coming off the bye week. How was your bye week, by the way?
Oh, it was great. Had an opportunity to clean some things up, watching some film and getting these guys, understand a little bit more some technique and some fundamental stuff, and putting a bunch of tapes together and just making sure we're cleaning up some footwork, some eye discipline, some hand stuff. And then I had an opportunity to enjoy Halloween with my kids, and was able to venture, at least, watch some kids go around our neighborhood and pick up some candy. So it was good to have some free time from that standpoint.
Let's get into some of these young guys. You said you were working in the bye week, working on some little things with this group here to bring back into practice this week. Let's start with Josh Allen. He's still a young guy, obviously. It's his second year. A couple of sacks early in the year, fell into a couple of them, really. How close is he? And I don't think you have to keep him motivated. It seems like he's pretty motivated himself.
Yeah, Josh is in a great spot right now. He is motivated. He's motivated to have success. But he also understands with success, it's success not only from him personally, but it's success as a group. And he's really become that leader, not only for the whole defense and the team with being a captain, but, he's a leader for that room. So he's done an unbelievable job of rallying our guys and understanding, whether it's base downs and knowing fundamentals and technique, how to stop the run that week or whoever we're playing against, obviously Houston this coming week, and then obviously into the third down pass rush plan, and understanding, hey, we're going to be working on, whether it's some sort of a pass rush game or we're working on some sort of a pressure or blitz and what your role is in that pressure or blitz, but Josh's attitude has been really, really good. He always comes into the day, like you said, JP, with a smile on his face. He's got a great glowing personality. He's a pleasure to be around, and our players love being around him. And he brings that fun energy every single day, and it's a pleasure for us, especially for me, in the D line.
Jason REBROVICH with us, Jaguars defensive line coach. K'Lavon Chaisson, young guy, obviously a rookie this year, first-round draft pick. Where is his development in that regard, and is he a guy you think could really, in the next few weeks, start to break out a little bit?
Absolutely. I think that goes for everybody, JP. I mean, this development, I mean, if you put it into perspective, we missed 4 preseason games, and all of a sudden now you're really into the early part of your schedule, if you really want to look at it that way, and missing preseason camp, so yeah, that development stage is coming, I mean, we're working at it, they want to be, great. They want to make plays. I know, people are on them about, that production and they know it. They want to do it. They tell me every day. I tell them every day, we're striving to roll for it. That's the truth. That's the reality of it. But, KC, I'll tell you the first thing though, JP, I know you've had conversation. You talk about a pleasure of a man. That guy is a man. He comes in every day. He doesn't have really a huge chip on his shoulder, but he knows he's a good player. He knows he wants to be great, and he's a sponge. He keeps his ears and eyes open. He wants to learn. He's learning from Josh. He's learning from watching. We put films and tapes together of other players that we compare him to in the league, and really analyze, his first step to his second step to his hand placement to where he's got to work to his inside foot and hand. All of that stuff, takes time. It's progression. And, he's really striving to do it. He's working at it. And it's going to be a pleasure here the next few weeks. We're really anticipating, getting Josh and him on the edges and working some few different pass rush groups that we're having out there to utilize our talents from that standpoint.
The play of Devon Hamilton last week really stood out. It was his best game, I think, as a rookie. That's a good sign for the interior of your defensive line. Big body guy. But he's not fluffy. He's a big, strong guy, and he played really well last week.
Yeah, there's no doubt, man. You hit it right on the nail of the head right there. I mean, you talk about a 340-pound guy that, he can run. He's physical. The guy loves contact. He runs his feet through it, and he loves to make plays. That's what, he comes from a really good program, in college that had a lot of success and winning. So he brings a lot of that to our group also. Where he wants to win. He wants to win his one-on-one, and he wants to be a winning team. And that's the real joy of D Ham. And we're looking to continue to build on those blocks, that tier each game and getting everything situated. He's seeing things. You always talk about from a coach's perspective how the game slows down a little bit for him. He can get a line. There's not a lot of different moving parts before the snap's going. He's getting into his groove. He's seeing his aim and point. He's getting his footwork down. And then obviously it's paying dividends for him, and paying dividends for us. The guy's becoming a real good force in the middle, and we got to continue him to be, and stopping the run. We know in this division that's the number one thing we have to do. Be stout in there, be, a great contributor in the run game, and let our linebackers and safeties get over the top and fill their gaps and where their responsibilities are in the run. And he's doing one heck of a job. Really good man. Another good sponge. I'll tell you, this group, JP, I know you're asking a lot about these young guys. Really good future with these men. And we're looking forward for the remaining part of this season to keep ratcheting it up every single week for these guys to continue to get better and better.
Great stuff as always, Rebs. Appreciate your time. Keep up the good work, and let's get some sacks in the future here.
I love it, baby. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Take care.
Jason REBROVICH, defensive line coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, yeah, we're about the halfway point. And
yeah,
it does take some time, especially, as you said, with Chase on to changing positions, different approach, different world he's living in now. I mean, yeah, it does take time.
It's tough to be patient. There are not many rookie pass rushers that are doing much in terms of the sack department. I think Chase Young of the Washington football team has 2.5 sacks. He was the number 2 overall pick in the draft, however. And you like to see Chase on being willing to learn his craft. You saw him working with Joey Bosa after the Chargers game, trying to get some tips about hand fighting and things like that. Hopefully he's been that diligent all throughout the season, because it hasn't shown up yet. Not saying it can't. And I get it. If you're a Jaguar fan, guy's the 20th overall pick, man, you want to see some production pretty soon. So hopefully that starts to come around for Caleb Vaughn.
The Jags have introduced Jags at Home. It's an interactive second screen experience on game day featuring Ashlyn Sullivan and Eric Dunn. And each Sunday, you'll have a chance to win $10,000 in cash and prizes. Visit jagsathome.com for more information on how you can play and you can win. We're back in a moment with former Jags and Texans receiver CECIL Shorts III. Now a radio analyst with Sports Radio 610 in Houston. He'll give us some insight to the Texans' changes in 2020 and what the future could hold down there. The Texans and Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hey guys, I want to take a break here because I'm so excited to talk to you all about this experience Eric Dunn and I are hosting this season called Jags at Home. This thing is for anyone that could use an extra $10,000. I mean, who couldn't? And the Jaguars are actually giving away $2,500 every quarter of every game to whoever predicts the outcome of the game most accurately. Will the Jaguars convert this third down? What will be the result of this red zone trip? If you think you know football and the Jaguars, why are you letting other people take this money that should be yours? It's not like if you top the leaderboard, you have a chance to win. If you top the leaderboard, you will win $2,500 every quarter, every game. Seriously. So when you're watching the game every week, visit jagsathome.com on a mobile device, tablet, or even a desktop, and come get this money. Even better, you get to hang out with me and Eric Dunn while we chat it up during breaks. Again, that's jagsathome.com. We'll see you there.
Jaguars fans, game day is back, and while it might look a little different this year, the good times, smooth drinks, and tailgate excitement will never change when you're cheering on the Jags with Jameson. So pull up a seat, pour a smooth Jameson, ginger, and lime, and enjoy game day with Jameson. Taste responsibly. Jameson Irish Whiskey. 40% alcohol by volume. 80 proof. Product of Ireland. Copyright 2020. Imported by John Jameson Import Company. New York, New York.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch. An online or phone chat for those quick questions. And a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Hey Jags fans, heading to TIAA Bank for a game? Take advantage of Jags Pay and keep your stadium transactions touch-free. Jags Pay is an all-new partnership between the Jaguars and Tap It to give our fans a contactless payment option for all concessions and merchandise. It's fast, safe, and easy to use. Just download the official Jaguars app on any mobile device, tap Jags Pay, and set up your secure payment method. You're all set. To learn more, visit jaguars.com/JagsPay. See you at the bank.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford, built for the holidays.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
Welcome back, JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park Studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Texans and the Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock. Today's Salute to Service game is presented by CSX. Cecil Shorts III, I must say, is one of my favorite Jaguars I've ever covered in my career here. He obviously was a small school guy, Mount Union, found a way into a role here for a relatively short time, and then went on to the Texans, went on to the Buccaneers before a knee injury really ended his career. He is now down in Houston still and is a contributor on sports radio down there, Mike. He's also an assistant coach at a high school currently. He also has 7 children. There's been a lot going on in Cecil's life since he's left here. And I'd always love to visit with him, and we're going to get the insight on the Texans here. But what is your favorite memory of Cecil Shorts?
I think it was his last year here, his first practice at training camp. I think if the Jags threw 30 passes, 28 of them went to Cecil Shorts, which showed you how little they had on the depth chart around him. Cecil was a guy who would have been a really good complementary receiver, but the Jags were kind of forced to try to shoehorn him in as a top of the depth chart guy, and he wasn't that. He was always very accommodating with the media, always, I thought, had a great personality. He still comes on local radio on 1010XL a good bit to discuss Texans and Jaguars football, and that really does, that practice I'll never forget. We're thinking, man, this guy's going to catch 130 passes this year, the way they're going to force feed him the ball, and it never really materialized. As we know, those practices can be very deceptive in the offseason.
Now, Cecil Shorts III on what the future could hold in Houston.
What's up, JP, man? How you doing?
We're hanging in there, 1-6. We're barely hanging in there. 6 straight losses, so it is what it is. Both teams coming off the bye week this week, another divisional game, the Jags and the Texans. Let's start with the state of the Texans organization. Bill O'Brien, the GM and head coach, is gone. That happened the week of the previous Jaguars matchup in week 5. And, of course, the Texans got the win that week against the Jags. What is the feel these days with O'Brien gone now, a few weeks into that? Is it one of those where they're just trying to make their way through this season and then move ahead? What's the feel overall of the organization these days?
Well, I think the organization still feels like they have a shot. Like they don't feel like they're that bad of a team. Their record says they're 1-6, similar to the Jaguars. But if you look at the roster, they should be better than what they are. And I think the team, and I think the Romeo Crennel and the organization, Kyle McNair and those guys, they think they're better than what they are. So they're trying to do the best they can with what they have. They still have a flicker of hope that they can turn this thing around. But to be honest, when you got number 4 back there, and you got some guys that can make plays on the offense, I understand where they're coming from. But the state of the franchise is they still have hope. They're still going to fight. They're still trying to win.
Cecil, of course, you mentioned number 4, Deshaun Watson, the quarterback. They have a left tackle that they've paid a lot of money to as well. How much that those are really the faces of the organization? J.J. Watt's still there on the other side, yes. How much will those guys have a say or commentary into what happens in the future at the head coaching position and beyond?
I'll be honest. I think Deshaun is, like you said, the franchise. I think he'll have the most say going forward about who they're going to bring in as an OC, who are they going to bring in as the head coach. He'll have a say in my opinion, he'll have a say on certain players that he may want to attract here, right? Just going out recruiting, doing something similar to what the NBA does as far as, hey, why don't you come try us out? We got a new coach here, whatever the case may be. So things as far as that, Deshaun's going to have a lot of say. Now, JJ, I'm not so sure. His contract situation is not guaranteed now. He's getting older. He is producing. He still is producing. But I wouldn't be surprised if he will not be in a Texans uniform next year. For him, he's in a situation where his brother's on a pretty good team. Both his brothers are on a pretty good team, undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. And he also dreams of playing for the Green Bay Packers. He grew up in Wisconsin. So I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe was let go, or I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know his contract's not guaranteed. I wouldn't be surprised if he steps on another team and wants to play somewhere else that they can possibly be a winner right now. The thing about bringing a new coach in, a new GM in, they're going to bring their guys and who they want on the staff, right, and who they want on the roster. So it may be some turnover, and who knows, they're going to be good right away. And JJ might not be looking for that. So Not sure if he will have a lot of say or if he even wants to say anything and be around. But Deshaun for sure will have a lot of say of who's the head coach, certain players, everything.
Well, J.J. Watt's been the face of the Texans since he stepped foot in the building down there, of course, CECIL. And there was all that talk the last few weeks that the Texans could be in the trading game before the deadline, considering they don't have really any high picks in the next year or two after all the deals that were made. How close were they to dealing Watt and Fuller and maybe some guys like that?
Well, I tell you what, Miami Dolphins are really happy right now. But things keep going the way they are. For the Houston Texans, they got their first and second round pick, so they'll be pretty ecstatic about that. But they were fielding everything. They were fielding all the calls on Fuller, on Watt, on whoever else. Jacob Martin, who's defensive end, outside linebacker type for the Texans. They were fielding calls on everybody. Did they take them serious is the question, right? And they wanted a lot for Fuller. They know the situation where they don't have a second. They don't have a first-round pick this year. And they knew, for example, Green Bay really needed another receiver to help out with Aaron Rodgers. They need another weapon with Devontae Adams down there. But they weren't just going to take, Coach Romeo Cornell said, peanuts. We need something real. We need something good in return. And they were willing to listen to a lot of offers. But nothing came across where they thought it would benefit those guys. Like I said, they want to win. They still think they can win, right? And Will Fuller was is their number one receiver. So if you take your Deshaun Watson number one target away for peanuts, for nothing, that is a situation where, you're kind of giving up the season and you're tanking almost. And when you tank, you really tank for, maybe a draft pick or so, but you don't have draft picks. So you're in a situation where you're kind of stuck. So the only way they're going to give up Watt or Fuller or anybody is to get something pretty good in return. And I don't think they found anything out there they really loved in return for those guys. So they definitely fielded and did their due diligence as far as taking the calls, but nothing they loved at all.
Cecil Shorts III, the extended interview, including his thoughts on the Jaguars quarterback situation and what he's been up to lately.
Yeah,
available on the official podcast network, Mike.
Sorry, JP. I thought he made a good point about Houston doesn't have anything to tank for.
That's
right.
Correct.
Miami, you could tank for Miami's draft capital because they own the Texans' first-round pick. At least, certainly that is what you usually focus on. So I thought that was an interesting take on it. And there's a lot of scuttlebutt out there that J.J. Watt will be long gone this offseason and that Houston will not stand in his way from seeking an opportunity to play for a contender.
It'd be weird to see. I mean, it happens around the league everywhere, obviously, but he is the Houston Texans,
Has been. Well,
until he's
three-time
not.
Defensive Player of the Year,
Right.
So he's the greatest player in the history of their franchise. And, still a good player, not what he once was, but could help a contender, no doubt.
This week's Selfies for Change player is cornerback C.J. Henderson. Take a virtual selfie with him and unlock a donation to tackle social injustice. Get started at TIAABank.com/selfies for change. Time now for our weekly visit with Jag sideline reporter Rick BALLOU, presented by McGowan's Heating and Air. We call it Has Rick Lost It?
All right, game day in Jacksonville, and once again, it's going to be very interesting because it involves a sixth-round quarterback. Remember all the magic that happened a year ago with Gardner Minshew when he was inserted? Well, now it's Jake Luton, and tell you what, it's really interesting. You look at his career, very similar, incredibly similar to Gardner Minshew. The guy actually played and authored up a wing T attack in high school. He did that in upstate Washington. He only became a two-star recruit, had to settle on the Idaho Vandals, took a red shirt in 2014. In 2015, he was a backup, played 8 games, but lost 30 pounds, had a problem with his stomach, had a problem with his esophagus. He therefore transferred, went the junior college route, went out to Ventura Community College, and really tore it up. Threw for 3,600 yards, 40 touchdowns. It's then when he settled on Oregon State. More problems, injuries, including battling a concussion. He had to deal with the fact that he broke a bone in his back. He was granted a 6-year of eligibility, came back and was a captain, threw for over 2,700 yards and 28 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions this past year for Oregon State. So what does that mean for today? Maybe nothing, or could possibly the same thing happen for Jake Luton, where he takes command like he showed during the month of August when we had a chance to watch him. All right, at 6'6", able to throw the football with, some accuracy, but certainly arm strength was something that was pleasant to view as we watched him. And frankly, to me, he looked like the better quarterback next to Mike Glennon and Joshua Dobbs. So, going to be an interesting game today. Pressure's on Jake Luton, or maybe it's not. Maybe we see for a second consecutive year some madness at the quarterback position with a former 6th-round pick.
Has Rick lost it? Presented by McGowan's Heating and Air, proudly keeping your family comfortable since 1974. Call 904-264-COOL. We're back in a moment with the man of the hour, quarterback Jake Luton, in our Baptist Health Connection with a player. He sits down with Ashland Sullivan, the Texans and the Jaguars at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field, it's the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hanania Subaru of Orange Park would like to present our new dealership with over 13 acres of vehicles to choose from and our new online buying program, iBuy. You decide how much of your buying experience you do online. Browsing, value your trade, picking your payments, financing. Just go to SubaruofOrangePark.com, pick out your vehicle, and click iBuy to begin. Become an iBuy preferred customer at Hanania Subaru of Orange Park, your local Subaru superstore.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch, an online or phone chat for those quick questions, and a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're hitting refresh now, palm trees swaying now, letting loose now, busting a move now, cranking up the beats now, hands in the air now, feeling free now. You're on Tropic Time now. And right now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, try our watermelon mojito and guava margarita smoothies. And you're tasting fruity now, sipping sunshine now, toasting summer now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Hey Jags fans, heading to TIAA Bank for a game? Take advantage of Jags Pay and keep your stadium transactions touch-free. Jags Pay is an all-new partnership between the Jaguars and TAP-IT to give our fans a contactless payment option for all concessions and merchandise. It's fast, safe, and easy to use. Just download the official Jaguars app on any mobile device, tap Jags Pay, and set up your secure payment method. You're all set. To learn more, visit jaguars.com/JagsPay. See you at the bank.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Everyone's so busy keeping up. Forget about the Joneses. We all on our telephones with the texts and the tweets and the beats. What he said, she said, can't even follow the thread. Down the hole, we all go. Me, I like keeping up too, with my Corona and my attitude. That's La Vida Más Fina.
Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Jaguars Game Day presented by ViStar Credit Union. The Publix Tailgate Show rolls along. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey at the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. 1 o'clock kickoff time today, and today's game presented by CSX. Crystal Restaurants remains committed to the health and safety of guests and team members. Crystal drive-thrus open 6 a.m. to midnight, and restaurants are offering delivery through Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. And Crystal, a part of our game day tradition here.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get some of those Crystal chicks here in a little bit, JP.
Sounds pretty good to me. They had the pulled pork ones in October. Those were fantastic. Get you a box. Why not? As part of your game day routine.
Get you two.
Get you a couple boxes.
They keep throwing in the fridge, and you'll have it for later.
That's a good
when you're
point.
watching Sunday Night Football.
Excellent point. Be sure to catch the latest archives of alljaguars.com and Jags radio shows on the official Jaguars podcast network presented by ViStar, including podcast-exclusive content like the Broadcast Week in Review and the Ozone podcast. Time now for the Baptist Health Connection with the Player. This week, it's the man of the hour, rookie quarterback Jake Luton with Ashwin Sullivan.
When Coach Marone sat you down and said you would not only be getting your first live game reps in the NFL this week, you would be starting against the Texans. What went through your head?
Yeah, I was really excited. Something I've always worked for, I've always dreamed of doing, and having that opportunity, hopefully I'll be out there and I'll be ready to go, and I'm just really excited.
And multiple players and coaches this season have talked about how close-knit this team is. So I can imagine the support you're getting is pretty good this week, from the quarterback room to the receivers. Who's helped you out? And I can imagine you want to lean on them this week with this.
Yeah, no, everybody's been real great. Both Gardner and Mike reached out to me before we even had our next meeting, our next practice. They reached out to me over the weekend and told me whatever I need, let them know, and they'd be there to help me out, and they have been. They've been really great, helping me study and get ready for this week. And, the team, like you said, real tight-knit. Everybody's excited, been real supportive out of practice. So, like I said, I'm excited. The guys are awesome.
And tell me about, you said something interesting in your press conference where you were having your brothers and your girlfriend call out plays during COVID, and you adapted a little bit to that. So tell me about this voice memo thing.
Yeah, no, it's just a way over quarantine to kind of learn how to call the plays, I guess. And so, like I'd said in the press conference, I had my brothers calling plays for me, my girlfriend calling plays for me, and they're not used to calling plays. So I finally was like, all right, I got to find a different way to do this, and ended up just recording myself on my phone, and that was kind of just the way to adapt, over quarantine to learning to call plays in this offense. And so I think it's paid off. I feel pretty confident making the play calls now.
Getting creative, I like it. And it's pretty crazy, your journey here. I mean, multiple stops in college, and I read that you took a pretty scary hit in 2017 and fought your way back. I'm sure you don't exactly have a lot of time to reflect this week, but looking back, it's kind of cool to see that your journey has come to this opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a long journey. Like I always like to say, everybody's got a story, everybody's got a journey. I'm not special. I think I've just been able to persevere, and I've had a lot of great people that have helped me along the way. And so, to finally get this opportunity to be somewhere that I've dreamed of, my whole life, and just get to step out there on the field, I couldn't be more grateful and more excited.
And I've heard the good news that the family will be making the trip, including the three brothers from Washington. So I guess when you heard the good news, who was the first person you called?
Oh man, I called my mom. She didn't answer. I called my grandpa. She didn't answer. I called my dad. He didn't answer. So I was kind of like driving home, and I'm like, all right, someone's going to call me back. And like they didn't, because it's I'm from the West Coast, so everyone's a few hours behind. And so I kind of had to sit there and just like wait for everyone to call me back. Finally got a hold of my mom and told her. And so everybody's really excited. Everybody was kind of speechless, didn't really know what to say. It was just, I got a lot of like wows, like that's pretty much it. So everybody's real excited. They're making the trip out, and my brothers are pretty fired up.
Wow, so much good news and no one to tell. I can imagine they probably booked plane tickets pretty quick, though.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody was hopping on it pretty quick.
Yeah, Jake Luton will get the start today. That is the Baptist Health Connection with a player, quarterback Jake Luton. Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
I'm sure he's excited. He sounds pretty calm, though. He seems like he's a little deadpan almost at the beginning there. I'm very excited about this. His family can't be bothered to take the calls. So
I guess it was like 4 in the morning.
One of those things. I get
yeah.
it. But, look, he's got to be excited. We've got to be thrilled. You play your whole life, to get to this point and to get this opportunity this early in your career is pretty big.
Let's get to Jaguars Director of Player Development, Marcus Pollard. He joins us each week and takes us inside the team, this time headed into Week 9.
Former NFL tight end Marcus Pollard
is holding it down.
After the bye week, you're still holding it down. That's good to hear. Good to talk to you again. Let's get right into it. The biggest news of the week, the Jaguars quarterback change. Gardner Minshew out with a thumb issue. Here comes Jake Luton, the rookie out of Oregon State, in his first NFL action at all. In a game situation, he'll be starting this Sunday. How can you expect a rookie to come in his first experience and really focus on the task at hand?
I think the first thing is there should not be any expectations. It's going to be a challenge, but having great coaching staff, having great support people around him to motivate him, encourage him, to get him ready for a game is all you can do. And then whatever happens after that, you just have to hope for the best. But I'm certain he's going to have a great week, had a great week of working and doing things right. So hopefully today he can show and prove what he's learned this week.
What kind of guy is he in the building to deal with?
Yeah, I think Jake's one of those great guys you want to have in the locker room. He's a quiet leader, if you will. He doesn't say a whole bunch, but you can tell he's very intense. He's sharp. He do things the right way. Even going back to our rookie meetings, everything that we asked him to do in those meetings, he did it, that and more. So I'm looking forward to great things out of him today, just based on what I've seen so far from the summer up until right now.
Interesting day today. Marcus Pollard with us, Director of Player Engagement for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The bye week at this time, this was a pretty good time, I think, for the Jags to get the bye week. Certainly a couple of reasons. There was a long losing skid, so maybe refresh, refocus, and get right after that. But also the get healthy part of that, too. This was a banged-up football team during the bye week, especially on the defensive side. That's a real thing. When you have that time away and, not banging your body against somebody else, I mean, that rest is important.
Absolutely, JP. You hit it on both accounts. To have a 6-game slide and to find a way to get a break when you can't create one, you don't get a win. So you're trying to figure things out. And so it's a great opportunity to say, okay, here's this skid. Let's just stop it right here. Let's stop the bleeding and get a chance to regroup, as I say, circle the wagons. And our guys did that. During the bye week, they made the most of the time away. Couldn't really travel as some guys have done in the past, but it was great just to get away from the building to refocus. On top of that, to have some of the guys that we had nicked up, banged up. It's a great, people, it's only a week. But a week makes a tremendous difference in the health and the wellness of a football player during the rigors of a season. And so to have those two things happen, hopefully today, having some time off, stop the bleeding, and then get some guys healthy, hopefully today's action will be beneficial for the Jaguars.
Jags are 1-6 coming out of the bye week, 9 games to go in the season. It is a young football team. We know the schedule ahead is challenging, so it hasn't gone well right now. If it doesn't go the right way, how confident are you in this group, and how much work does this group have to do to maintain the discipline to go about business the right way on a day-to-day basis and come into the building focused and ready to go each game week?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, JP. I think the thing that myself, the coaches, other support staff, the leaders on our team have to make certain with such a young team, you hit it right on the head. You have to stay focused. You have to find a way to stay motivated, although this season has not gone the way we like for it to have gone. But we can't just put our head in a hole and think it's just going to go away. We have to find a way to circle the wagons, keep working, doing things the right way, stay motivated, come to work with some sense of energy and purpose. And I think then you just let the chips fall where they may. But I feel like if you come in and you don't do those things, you're definitely going to lose. I say we give ourselves the best opportunity by coming in motivated, focused, ready to go to work, taking each day as a separate day. Don't count the days, make the days count, as they say. So hopefully our guys will start doing that the rest of the season.
Marcus, always great to talk with you. We'll have your player and coaches of the last 2 weeks coming up in just a second.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Hold it down.
Marcus Pollard joining us every week on the Publix Tailgate Show, former NFL tight end. I think that's going to be a key moving ahead. If things don't go well, how do you keep this group focused on the task at hand and motivated and ready to go out there each week? It's a young group. You got to teach them the right way to go about it.
Yeah, look, it's a challenge every team that is in this position with the Jags faces, plus you have the uncertainty because this would be the third consecutive losing season. You've got to suspect that there could be some major changes in the front office, coaching staff, that kind of thing, and players start to wonder, am I going to be playing for this coach next year? What do I listen to? Who do I listen to? And hopefully they can keep a professional attitude and outlook on it and just go about their business day after day. I don't know what else they can do at this point.
Let's get to the high school players and coaches of the last 2 weeks from Marcus Pollard. First, the CSX High School Player of the Week last week, A.J. Jones of Bartram Trail High School, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns in the win over Sandalwood. An offensive weapon, hard work, and dedicated to his craft to go out there every week. A leader in the community as well. Congratulations to A.J. Jones. The Whataburger Coach of the Week, Jim Stomps of Christchurch Academy. They got an undefeated season in the books last week with a big win over St. Joseph's. Not a huge school there, but they don't let that be an excuse. So congratulations to Jim Stomps on an undefeated season at Christchurch Academy. This week, the CSX Player of the Week, Terrence Anthony of Oakleaf High School. 9 catches, 216 yards, and 3 touchdowns in a win over Clay County. 41-14 final. Size and speed and 3.0 GPA. And fantastic work there for Terrence Anthony at Oakleaf. The Whataburger Coach of the Week this week, Bobby Rawlerson of Fletcher High School. They played 2 games in 96 hours and won both of them this week. Congratulations to Coach Rawlerson, the CSX High School Player of the Week, and the Whataburger High School Coach of the Week, a weekly feature of the Publix Tailgate Show. When we come back, the second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show, we'll have the top headlines and its first rounds on us. Our weekly visit with our resident first rounders, Tony Baselli and Jeff Lageman. Texans, Jaguars at 1 o'clock. And this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
In Florida, bicyclists have the same rights and responsibilities as everyone else on the road. So when you ride, follow the rules. Always wear a helmet and use lights on your bike. And drivers, watch for cyclists. Give them space to ride. And don't forget, when making that right on red, look to your right first to see if a cyclist is approaching in the bike lane. We all have a responsibility to keep ourselves and each other safe. Alert today, alive tomorrow. Because safety doesn't happen by accident. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
You're working from home. So how do you connect with coworkers and clients? With RingCentral, the #1 global communication solution for business. RingCentral makes talking, texting, collaborating, and video calls easy. And it's all on one platform. And when we say everyone should be connected, we mean it. It's why we're giving RingCentral free to educators, health providers, and nonprofits. Learn more at ringcentral.com. Welcome to the new RingCentral.
If something's been hurting, aching, or bothering you, don't ignore it any longer. It's time to take care of your health again. It's time to make an appointment with a Baptist Health primary care doctor or specialist. Call 904-202-4U to schedule a virtual visit or see a doctor in person at a Baptist Health location. The time for better health is here. Call 904-202-4YOU or visit getbetterjacks.com.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Hanania Subaru of Orange Park would like to present our new dealership with over 13 acres of vehicles to choose from and our new online buying program, iBuy. You decide how much of your buying experience you do online. Browsing, value your trade, picking your payments, financing. Just go to SubaruofOrangePark.com, pick out your vehicle, and click iBuy to begin. Become an iBuy preferred customer at Hanania Subaru of Orange Park, your local Subaru superstore.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
Welcome back. Second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show. 2 hours away from kickoff today. JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey. We're at the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park Studio at TIAA Bank Field. 1 o'clock kickoff time in Week 9 for the Texans and the Jaguars. Battle of 1 and 6 teams. And today's Salute to Service game is presented by CSX. Rookie quarterback getting a start. Texans defense depleted. I like this scenario today.
Well, I mean, look, if you were Jake Luton, you probably couldn't walk into a better starting debut, right? The terrible defense. You're at home. They've got to make that trip without 3 guys that they count on the defensive side, including Bradley Roby. He's probably their best cornerback. Has played that way this year. So you've got a running game that seems like it can help you along, if not carry you a little bit offensively. So you got that to lean on. You've got good skill position guys at the wide receiver spots around you. So we'll see what he can do.
Let's get to today's top stories and start with the quarterback, Jake Luton, getting his first NFL start today. Doug Marrone likes what he sees in the building, but we'll see when it gets real at 1 o'clock today.
You know, how is that player, going to be when really the bullets are flying? Because it's a unique position, especially now this year without the preseason games, you know what I mean, where you can kind of see them in the preseason games where things are going fast and you got a lot of bodies flying around you. Some guys are calm. You've seen them in the league. They've been successful. They're calm. They step up. They can deliver the football. They keep their eyes down the field. Some guys get hit and they get rattled. I mean, we've all seen that. That's really what the unknown is.
Yeah, the unknown because, no preseason games. He would have had, it feels like, the bulk of the reps, I think, in the preseason games this year had they had a preseason. Would you agree with that?
He would have gotten – we talked about this week a little bit, because he had Joshua Dobbs in the mix. You probably would have had Dobbs and Glennon getting a lot of time to determine who was the most likely backup. But I estimated it like maybe a game and a half's worth of reps for Luton, which is obviously a lot more than he got, which is none due to circumstances. So, look, we can all guess what Jake Luton's going to do today. Nobody really knows. That's part of the appeal of this game is the fresh mystery of what he presents. Could he come out there like some of the young quarterbacks, like we've seen Justin Herbert this year, right away? Didn't get any time to prepare to start. Came right in and started throwing the ball all over the place and has put up phenomenal numbers, although not a lot of wins for the LA Chargers. Is it that, or is it? Are we going to see a guy like Tua Tagovailoa last week, who is super conservative? They only threw for 93 yards with him. They won the game because they got big performances out of the defense and special teams. So total mystery as to what we're going to get today.
Luton involved in the game plan so far this season overall, but said the formulating of game plans won't change too much now that he's the starter.
It'll be the same as it is every week. Like I said, I try to be really involved. And throughout the beginning of the year when I knew I wasn't going to be playing, just trying to help any way I can and give my input, and I'm sure that'll stay the same this week. They'll talk to me about what I like, what I don't like, and we'll kind of reconvene at the end of the week, and we'll put a good script together.
He can say it's the same all he wants, but a little different when you're picking and choosing at the end of the week.
I mean, how involved is he in putting together the game plan up until now? I'm going to think minimally, right?
He's in the room.
He's an eager observer of how it's all coming together.
He's on the Zoom call, right?
Come on. So, look, you want to tailor it to his strengths, obviously, and give him some plays that he feels good about to hopefully get him off to a good start.
Offensive coordinator Jay Gruden, a lot to like about Luton on the field, according to the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like, just what we've seen over the course of the last 3-4 months. He's got a great arm. He's got the ability to put touch on the ball. He can stroke it now, that's for sure. So we're excited to see him throw the ball down the field. I think he has great vision, too. He's tall. He's 6'6". I think he'll be able to get off his first progression, be able to work his eyes and find the next second, hopefully third guy if we have protection. But from arm talent, he's impressive. Like I said, he can throw the deep ball, the intermediate stuff. He can throw with touch. But on game day with J.J. Watt and Marcellus and these guys chasing after him, we'll see if that has any impact on his motion.
We will see for sure. And that's something I think we haven't seen a lot consistently that he mentioned there, is that down the field, pushing it over the middle of a defense type throws. We haven't been able to see that from Gardner Minshew this year, especially the last few weeks with the thumb issue. But even before that as well, it wasn't a regular part of the arsenal for Gardner. We'll see if it is for Luton.
Yeah, you would think pushing it down the field would be a big strength of his with this arm we keep hearing about. So let's find out if they're able to, again, run the ball effectively. You can do some of that stuff off of play action, and we'll see how aggressive and confident Jake Luton is to try to fit it into some tight windows today.
Let's move to the defensive side of the football. The defensive line interior play this season has left a lot to be desired, of course. Last time out, though, rookie Devon Hamilton, the nose tackle, had his best game of the season so far. Todd Wash, the defensive coordinator, likes what could develop with Hamilton.
So we've had a little bit of ups and downs, and I think that is just part of being a rookie at this phase, missing the whole offseason and stuff like that. They're continuing to develop. But you see the stoutness that we like in the run game, his ability to run. He plays real hard, extremely smart. So we can do a lot of different things with him, move him, have some design stuffs for him because he is intelligent. But I think he's going to be a solid player in this league for a while.
Yeah, Devon Hamilton is a large human being. And as we said in an interview earlier, it's not like he's fluffy and a big overweight type guy. He's large. He's really, really built. And when he turns it on, here he is. And it seems like he's starting to figure some things out.
Yeah, it looked like last week or the week prior to the last game was probably his best performance so far of the year. But the problem is he needs a lot of help, JP. You know, he's this one guy in there, and they need a lot of solids and a few more than solids along that defensive line to beef things up.
He's 6'4", 320 out of Ohio State, the rookie third-round draft pick this year. Lots going on with the Jags right now. Overall, though, 6 straight losses. The bye week, some players coming back on defense, though. That's a good news. Miles Jack, one of those today. There's a rookie quarterback starting today. There's a lot happening here. And Josh Allen, the defensive end, explained where the mindset of the locker room is these days with everything going on.
We're trying to win. Everybody in our locker room is trying to win. We prepare ourselves like we're going into a battle to win each play, and that's the mindset we all have to have, and that's the mindset that we have in the locker room. And we're all excited about this matchup this week, and we're just looking forward to it. And that's what everybody's mindset is, just to come out here and win.
Yeah, winning internally, that's what everybody's going to focus on. Winning football games, improving and getting winning results. Players, coaches, personnel folks, that's what they are for. Outside the building, it's a different narrative.
Oh, absolutely. Look, the players should feel no differently than what Josh Allen's describing. They should go out there with the goal of winning every single week. Outside the building, JP, there is a clear division. A lot of people think at this point losing is winning because they're not headed to the playoffs this year, and you've got maybe 1 or 2 generational type quarterbacks that are going to be available in next year's draft, and the more games you win, the harder it's going to be to land yourself one of those guys. So, look, ultimately the goal is to win a Super Bowl, and I know I hear from a lot of Jaguar fans that think that losing these games right now goes more towards your long-term goal than if you end up 4-12. What does that make you do? It might make you feel better on a couple of random weekends in 2020, but the long-term effect is you might be picking outside the range where you can get a difference-making quarterback.
But Jake Luton could come in and light it up too, Mike.
Maybe he could, or maybe he does just enough to convince you that he deserves a shot for a year and ends up like Gardner Minshew, where you're halfway through and you're pretty convinced that he's not the long-term answer. So, look, for Jake Luton, all he can do out there is not worry about any of that kind of stuff. Just go out and play your absolute best. Take advantage of this opportunity because whether it's here in Jacksonville or somewhere else, I've been talking about this a lot lately, JP. Mm-hmm. Jake Luton, if he plays well, let's say the Jags do lose a bunch of games and they do get a Justin Fields at quarterback. Okay, well, maybe you get something more than what you paid for Jake Luton, or maybe you learn that Jake Luton can be your long-term backup, and maybe you get that for Gardner Minshew. You've got commodities. We know Minshew can play in the NFL, whether he's a franchise-type starter, that's up for debate, certainly, and I think most people feel that that's probably not the road he's going down, but it never hurts to have competent quarterbacks, even if they're not franchise changers on your roster.
The Jaguars Game Day radio broadcast is presented by ViStar Credit Union. If you believe no car payment for 90 days is better, join ViStar, a standard feature on new or used car loans. ViStar never forgets that it's your money. Time for our weekly visit with the guru, David Lamb, with Lamb at Large.
Thanks, guys. Of course, we all know the Tom Brady story. 6th-round draft pick goes on to become the greatest quarterback in NFL history. The reason we know the story so well is because nothing like it has happened before, at least not in the NFL Super Bowl era. You want an elite or even a franchise quarterback? Then you'd better grab him in the 1st round. Certainly no later than the 3rd round. I don't know what the Jaguars had in mind, but their last 3 drafted quarterbacks were all taken in the 6th round. Tanner Lee in 18, Gardner Minshew in 19, Jake Luton in 20. What were the Jaguars' expectations for the 3? Lee never got on the field. Minshew became a rookie sensation both on and off the field before regressing badly this year, maybe because of a hand injury. He never mentioned anyone. And now Luton gets the starting job. I'm not suggesting the Jaguars thought they'd find another Brady. What I am saying is, why didn't they use a higher pick over the last 6 years to get a quarterback? They did try for a while. Byron Leftwich, 7th overall in 03. Blaine Gabbert, 10th overall in 10. Blake Bortles, 3rd overall in 14. They all flamed out, and the Jaguars quit drafting quarterbacks. The free agent signing to Nick Foles was a major flop. What now if Luton flops? If Minshew never regains that rookie success? Everything now points to the Jets being the worst team in the NFL, worse than the Jaguars, and winning the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. There are other quarterbacks likely to be taken in the 1st round. Will the Jaguars go after one of them? More importantly, will they make a wise selection? You wonder who will be available in the 6th round. Okay, now some other things on my mind this week. Coach Marrone going for it on 4th and 2 midway the 3rd quarter with the lead last week. That wasn't an aggressive move. It was a panic move. Marrone is the desperate coach for good reason. When is the last time a 1-6 team, we're talking about Houston, was a 6-point road favorite? We're talking about today. I didn't bother looking it up, and neither should you. At what point do the Jaguars start playing for next year? I'm not talking about giving up now. I don't think NFL players and coaches ever give up. I'm talking about giving some of the younger players more playing time, if that's possible. Maybe trying some in different positions, that sort of thing. Maybe see how Luton performs first, or how quickly Minshew returns. I don't envy Doug Marrone. As I said before, the problem starts higher up.
David Lamb, the weekly comments of David Lamb, a weekly feature of the Publix Tailgate Show.
I'll disagree with the characterization of 4th and 2 being a desperation thing. I thought it was just simple logic. The defense has given up 30-plus points 6 weeks in a row, which ties an NFL worst ever. And if you feel like, you know what, we can get a first down here, we got our best unit on the field, we can build on a lead that we've come all the way back here, I thought it was the right move at that time. I still think it was the right move, even though it didn't work out.
Let's come back with First Rounds on Us, our weekly visit with our resident first-round picks, Tony Baselli and Jeff Lageman. The Texans and the Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Every 51 minutes, someone dies in a drunk driving crash. If you think it can't happen to you or that your actions won't affect others, think again. I got behind the wheel drunk and caused a crash that took the lives of 2 young women. Before you drink, have a plan and know all your options. One bad decision can last forever. Take it from me, Eric, prison inmate P22679.
This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Jaguars fans, let's tackle social injustice together on game days with Selfies for Change. Visit TIAABank.com/selfies for change to take a virtual selfie with a Jaguars player and unlock a $5 donation to the Jaguars Foundation to help fight social injustice. Share your photo on Instagram or Twitter using hashtag Selfies for Change so more fans can be part of the movement. Join us on game days at TIAABank.com/selfies for change. TIAA Bank is the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey Jags fans, heading to TIAA Bank for a game? Take advantage of Jags Pay and keep your stadium transactions touch-free. Jags Pay is an all-new partnership between the Jaguars and Tap It to give our fans a contactless payment option for all concessions and merchandise. It's fast, safe, and easy to use. Just download the official Jaguars app on any mobile device, tap Jags Pay, and set up your secure payment method. You're all set. To learn more, visit jaguars.com/JagsPay. See you at the bank.
Pinpoint, the official signage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, helps business decision makers like you maximize the impact of their brand. Your company's identification, advertising, and even the words you use make an impression on your clients. With Pinpoint as your coach, you can make sure it's a good impression. Pinpoint provides the creative design and production services for anything you need to enhance your brand, From custom signage to complete marketing solutions, step up your game with Pinpoint and create the ultimate brand experience for your clients. Visit experiencepinpoint.com.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the large format printing services running in high gear, creating large banners for marketing events, full vehicle wraps. Learn how Kessler changes the game with print and direct mail innovation. From eye-catching restaurant menus to real estate yard signs and event displays, Kessler does it all. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Everyone's so busy keeping up. Forget about the Joneses. We all on our telephones with the texts and the tweets and the beats. What he said, she said, can't even follow the thread. Down the hole, we all go. Me, I like keeping up too, with my Corona and my attitude. That's La Vida Más Fina.
Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Publix Tailgate show continues. The Texans and the Jaguars meet today in Week 9. Kickoff set for 1 o'clock. Tickets for the Daly's Place 2021 season are on sale now. Great seats available for great shows like Tedeschi Trucks Band, Kane Brown, Maren Morris, Alicia Keys, and many more. Go to dailysplace.com for more information and to buy tickets. Time now for First Rounds on Us.
New York Jets, first round choice. Jeff Lageman.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have selected tackle Southern California, Tony Baselli.
Only way to the top is looking out for number one. And that's us. Keep looking out for number one.
Let's head up to the broadcast booth here at TIAA Bank Field for the first time today and welcome in Jeff Lageman and Tony Baselli, our resident first-round draft picks. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, JP.
What's up, JP?
We're ready for football. That's what's up, and it's Jake Luton
right.
time.
Let's go, Jake.
Jake Luton time. Besides the unexpected, what can we expect today?
The unexpected is what to expect. And, Jeff, we talked about it Thursday. What are our expectations? And I said – I have none because, I mean, here's a 6th-round rookie quarterback that has never taken a snap in an NFL game, had no OTAs in the facility, minimal camp reps, no preseason games, and probably has not called a play of the Jaguars' offense since training camp.
August, yeah. Jay Gruden said, I mean, he hasn't called our play in our huddle since August, and that's a long time. But, you know, the one thing I think that we're going to see is you go back to what we saw in training camp, and that's a strong-armed young man who has all the measurables, which means, you know, he's got the 6'6" height. He can see over offensive linemen. He's got a live arm. In fact, Jay Gruden flat out said, look, this guy can wing it. And, you know, all camp long, you know, you sit there and you listen to Jay Gruden talk about Gardner Minshew. And it was just, we want him to get better and this and that. But, all of a sudden Jay Gruden starts talking about Jake Luton, and it's different. He's praising Heap. Got great arm. He can see, the height's going to allow him to get to the second and third progression. He's talking a lot of the things that he's saying are the things that Gardner Minshew hasn't been doing very well. And so for me, that gives me a little bit of excitement in looking forward to watching him today because the offensive coordinator clearly has a little excitement in his voice.
So, Jeff, that's fair. I guess my question is, and you know this, think back when you were a rookie, how fast is the game going to be coming at him? Will he be able to slow it down so that he can sit in the pocket and go from 1 to 2 to 3? Will his eyes start dropping after the first couple hits to the rush? So those are the things that you just don't know until you get out there, and the game's going to be coming fast at him. I mean, he's gonna be out there for the first time, and he's going to experience something he has never experienced. And how he handles that, we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we're definitely going to have to watch for, JP, when Doug Marrone was talking this week, he said, look, we anticipate once we get to third down, we're going to see some things that we haven't seen out of the Texans defense before.
Right.
And so it's going to be interesting. You know, the interesting thing, too, is will they be able to do that defensively? Well, I'm talking about the Texans' defense just because they've got a little bit of an issue at the linebacking position today.
Not only linebacker guys, Bradley Roby doesn't make the trip, so I think you'd probably agree. You take on a Houston Texans team at home. They're playing really bad defense. Out without three of their top guys defensively, it's probably about as good a circumstance as Jake Luton could find for a midseason debut.
No, I think that's right, Mike. And I guess the question is, because you're right. I mean, this is a group, speaking of the Texans defense, that is down. And they're not very good when they had all their pieces together. But at the same time, you have a Jaguars defense that hasn't stopped anyone and held anyone under 30 points the last 6 games. And so is it a situation where it turns into a track meet? And if that's the case, can a Jake Luton-led offense keep up with Deshaun Watson going back and forth trying to score a touchdown?
But I think, you know, Mike, you bring up a great point. I mean, if you could have drawn it up for a rookie quarterback, I mean, what more could you ask for? I mean, you've got starting corner, their best corner, who didn't make the trip because of disciplinary reasons, it was reported. And then you have a positive COVID test with Jacob Martin, and Whitney Merciless and Dylan Cole end up not making the trip because they're considered high risk, and they were around Jacob Martin. Kyle Emanuel, another linebacker, didn't even make the trip because he's got a concussion. So, I mean, you're right, and that, boy, I mean, this is about as good as it can get. And, oh, by the way, the Texans defense, the last time they faced them, they were the worst defense in the National Football League against the run. Now they're only the second worst defense in the National Football League against the run. So, yeah, I mean, you're right in that, you know, if you're going to dial one up for a rookie quarterback getting his first start, this might be the best situation.
The Jaguars do have a few players back on the defensive side today. Miles Jack, Jared Wilson back in the fold today, just to name a couple. C.J. Henderson didn't play in this game in Week 5, so he's back today as well against the Texans for the first time. Is that enough to give you confidence that they can break the 30-point streak today?
No. I mean, I think that it's got to be, I think, a combination of offense and defense and special teams for them not to give up 30 because the defense has some issues. And look, JP, some of the things that you talked about there, getting Miles Jack back and Jared Wilson back, I think we're going to see some other things that are going to change with this defense. And I'm talking about playtime rotation. I think we could see a change in the starting lineup elsewhere. And we'll just have to exactly wait and see what it's going to be. But I anticipate some changes. I mean, Doug Marrone doesn't come out and say that he's going to do some crazy stuff or looking at doing some crazy stuff and not do anything. I think we're going to see some changes.
That's a heck of a tease there, Logs. You're leaving us hanging. What do we got? What kind of change?
I don't know, JP, but when the coach says he's got some crazy stuff or he could do some crazy stuff, and the only thing that's happened so far is that you've named a rookie quarterback as the starter.
That's pretty crazy, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy. Don't get me wrong.
Pretty
okay,
crazy.
But the way that Doug kind of inferred, I'm thinking that there's more coming.
But Jeff, to speak to that, you know, what could you do defensively that would be crazy? Because as I look at this roster, there's nothing crazy to be done because what you've been doing is not working. So, you know, are you saying Josh Allen's on the bench not playing? That would be crazy.
No, that would be insane.
That's right.
Not crazy.
My point is, what crazy thing could they do?
I don't know.
Because I look at it, there's not that many pieces to move around the board, I guess is what I'm saying.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
But there's some changes you could do, I think.
I think you know something you're not telling us, and I can't wait to see.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Absolutely. Hour and a half.
Well, we wait for the inactives and the lineup changes to be announced. Guys, are you seeing anything on film in terms of the pass rush? I mean, statistically, they're kind of middle of the pack in getting pressure, but they're obviously near the end in terms of getting quarterbacks on the ground. Are you seeing any indicators that you think that might improve as the season goes on?
No.
Let me expound on that a little bit more. I do, from this standpoint. I think Josh Allen will get it going. And I think he'll start winning more one-on-ones. And that's something that he has not done, but we know he's capable of it. And so that's the only caveat that I'll add to Jeff's just resounding, clear, direct no. A little bit. And I think it's Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying you can't get a little bit of an uptick, but it's not going to go all of a sudden to being one of the middle of the pack getting sacks in the National Football League. Let's be realists here. I mean, look, Kayvon Chazon's got a ways to go.
Yep.
Josh Allen is a good player. He had some nice wins 2 weeks ago against the Chargers. but they have virtually no pass rush in the inside, and there really is no one else on the edge besides Josh and Kayvon Chazon that can really sub and give them anything on the outside. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you hate to say it, but I kind of said it at the beginning of the year that this is a situation where the Jaguars, you try to fix everything in 1 year, but you just really can't do that. And I think this is a fix that's got to wait until next year when you can address it, whether it be in free agency or also through the draft.
All right, one final thought here, guys. It's really the start of the second half for the Jags. I know it's week 9 today. They're coming off the bye week. And the schedule coming up is quite difficult, of course. If things don't go well over the next few weeks, how difficult is it to keep a young team focused and eager to come to work and go play each week?
Well, I think it's very difficult because losing is a disease, and it starts infecting the entire organization. And this young team has done a good job, but it'll wear on you. I'll think back to my rookie year in '95, Jeff, when we lost 7 in a row. And it was miserable to come to work. It's no fun. You start searching for answers, and you start really looking at the calendar, and that's the last thing that can happen. And what you worry about on a young team, now it's the veteran leaders. The veteran leaders have to step in and say, "Come on, we got to keep going. We got to keep pushing." And you just hope that, one, you have those guys to do that, and two, that you get some success. Because when you never have success, boy, it's hard to buy into what you're doing.
Yeah, it's hard, period, whether you're a young team, an old team, and you're losing. And it's never, an easy way to sit there and say, okay, what do we do to fix this? I mean, we go back to work. Well, I mean, you sit there and you say all these things, that Duke LeLuc or whatever that guy was, Luke LeLuc, what was his name, JP?
Luke LeLuche.
Okay, you use all those little
Next time you get the name right before now we've lost the whole thing.
All the little catchphrases,
motivational phrases.
Yeah, but I mean, the reality is it's hard, and it doesn't get any easier. And I think that when you have a very young team, that you could end up having some guys that flat out quit. I mean, but that's whether it's young, old, or doesn't matter.
And let me be clear: when Jeff says they quit, what happens is you mentally quit. Like you just shut it down. It's not like all of a sudden you don't try out there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying they don't come to work anymore.
No. So what happens is, and the mental aspect is so big, when you shut down mentally, then you just don't perform the same way. Even if you're trying hard and you're putting effort and everything else, the mental aspect's gone. You stop believing, you stop having confidence, and you continue to see level of play go down.
Ebby Calvin LeLuche is the full name, by the way. Nuke was his nickname.
I knew you'd know that, JP.
We're back in a moment, and we'll get to the Geico Fantasy Outlook for this week. The Jags and the Texans coming up at 1 o'clock today. A game presented by CSX and from TIAA Bank Field. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Joe Adib from Bono's. I just want to let you know that we have now reopened all of our dining rooms. We appreciate all the love that you have showed us during this crisis. For over 71 years, we have been here for you through good times and bad. Our award-winning barbecue and our unbelievable staff look forward to seeing you soon. Be safe.
Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, the CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing staffing firms in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI knows how important it is to find the right people for your team. See why some of Jacksonville's top companies choose CSI for their staffing needs. Visit thecsicompanies.com or call 800-582-0828 today. That's 800-582-0828 for the CSI Companies.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports-watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the large format printing services running in high gear, creating large banners for marketing events, full vehicle wraps. Learn how Kessler changes the game with print and direct mail innovation. From eye-catching restaurant menus to real estate yard signs and event displays, Kessler does it all. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Everyone's so busy keeping up. Forget about the Joneses. We all on our telephones with the texts and the tweets and the beats. What he said, she said, can't even follow the thread. Down the hole, we all go. Me, I like keeping up too, with my Corona and my attitude. That's La Vida Más Fina.
Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back to the Hanania Subaru of Orange Park studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Publix Tailgate show rolls along. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey. Texans Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock today, and today's Salute to Service game is presented by CSX. Let's get to the inactives for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there are 7 down today. And names we expected. Gardner Minshew with the thumb issue is inactive today. Devine Ozigbo inactive, and he has been on the list with a hamstring issue. Did not practice. Is obviously still working his way back from the early season issue there. Josiah Scott, cornerback, inactive. Luke Barku is inactive, the rookie corner. Dakota Allen has been on the list this week with an ankle injury. Did not practice this week. He is out, inactive today. And Aaron Lynch, inactive today for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Karan Reed as well, defensive lineman. Those are the 7 down for the Jacksonville Jaguars today. The Houston Texans, not quite yet.
No, I got a partial list of guys, some guys we knew about, including Bradley Roby out for disciplinary reasons, as we discussed. Isaiah Coulter, Kyle Emanuel, and Charlie Heck all will not be suiting up today.
And then the linebackers.
That probably completes the group.
Think,
the COVID guys.
Whitney Merciless, one of those.
Jacob Martin.
Contact tracing. Martin, I think, was the positive test of those 3. We'll get the official ones when they come down from the Houston Texans. Time now for the Geico Fantasy Outlook. Great news. There's a quick way you could save money. Switch to Geico. Go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on car insurance. We go back to the booth. Tony and Jeff back with us. Frank Frangie joins us for the first time today, and let's hear the standings, Mike.
All right, well, we got to go back 2 weeks here and remember who we all took, and I fortunately have that written down.
Thank you.
Unfortunately for the rest of us, Jeff Logman took Tyler Lockett, who decided to have 15 catches for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, good for 53 fantasy points. But Patrick Mahomes underperformed a little bit for Log. So overall, 79, not the best we've had this year, but enough to lead the week. Frank Frangie got out of the cellar for a week with Tom Brady and James Robinson leading the way. He had 73, good for second place. Tony Baselli got 40 out of Kyler Murray, and he posted a 70-point total. I got 41 out of Justin Herbert, but the bad karma of picking a player against the Jags did me in with the other 2, as I only got a 49 total, and JP, you came in last thanks to only 5 out of Josh Jacobs with 48 points. So Logs leads the way at 486, JP with 452. I've got 434, Tony at 377, and Frank at 342. JP bats lead off. I'm second, followed by Tony Baselli, Frank Frangie, and Jeff Loggeman in that order, drafting a quarterback, running back, and either a wide receiver or a tight end. JP, the board is yours.
All right, give me Justin Herbert.
All right, Justin Herbert coming off the board. I'm going to go with Julio Jones at wide receiver. Tony, you're up.
Dang it. I was Justin Herbert was my first pick. I'm going to go James Conner.
James Conner, all right. There you go. Running back build. Frank?
How about Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin Cook. I knew Frank was the only other guy who could take Dalvin Cook, and it was a toss-up between Julio and Dalvin for me. Logs, you got the next two.
I will take Keenan Allen.
Okay.
And I will take Tom Brady.
Okay, Allen added to the injury report yesterday, but indications are he will play.
Uh-oh.
He came down with an illness, non-COVID illness is what he had. Frank, quarterback or a pass catcher?
How about Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray, all right. Tony, same deal for you.
I'm going to go Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, all right. Let's see. I am going to take Chase Edmonds at running back. And JP, you get back-to-back picks here.
Give me DK Metcalf.
Okay.
And give me James Robinson, Jacksonville Jaguars.
James Robinson. All right. I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes at QB. Tony, need a wide receiver or a tight end?
Let me think here. Let's go Stephon Diggs. Let me see if I can double up.
Like that one. Diggs. Frank, same deal?
Yeah, how about Tyreek Hill?
Hill and Jeff need a running back.
I will take Justin Jackson.
Justin Jackson, interesting play right there.
Interesting.
All right, we got JP with Justin Herbert, James Robinson, DK Metcalf. I've got Patrick Mahomes, Chase Edmonds, and Julio Jones. Tony's got Josh Allen, James Conner, Stephon Diggs. Frank goes with Kyler Murray, Dalvin Cook, and Tyreek Hill. And Logs has Tom Brady, Justin Jackson, and Keenan Allen as he tries to build on his lead. Good luck, guys.
I mean, we're about halfway to the finish line. How's everybody feeling about the standings this year in this?
Well, one thing I know for sure, there's only one thing I can guarantee, is that JP won't win. So it's really a four-person race because JP will blow it by the end.
Wow.
He'll do something stupid. He'll make an awful pick. So I feel good about where I sit, really in third place, not fourth, just a little bit behind Mike. I'm chasing him down. I'm worried Logs has too big a lead.
And I appreciate your comment about a 4-team-man race, but probably about a 3-man, really. So
you think you and JP are
so
out?
you're counting me out too, Frank. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
There you go.
Unbelievable. Well, believable. All right, guys, we'll talk to you a little bit. Tony and Jeff are out of here. Let's continue now our conversation with Frank Frangie, who has counted me out of the Geico Fantasy Outlook. It's the Frank Frangie file. And here we are back home, Frank, after the bye week. And here we go. The Jags at 1-6, the Texans at 1-6. 6-game slide, rookie quarterback, depleted Texans defense. Is it enough of a recipe for a W today?
Yeah, you know what? It's two teams that are struggling, JP. So if you're going to win one, why not against another team that's struggling and has all kind of issues? I heard you and Jeff and Tony talking about it a moment ago, along with Mike, that, look, this team's got troubles. They're on the road. They don't have Whitney Merciless. Where's their head? Where's the Texans' head moving forward, right? It doesn't matter if they get a high pick. They don't have the pick, right? So I'm not sure where their head is moving forward. As for the Jaguars, look, nobody knows what to expect. Jake Luton's never played a game in an NFL uniform. Not just not played in a game, no preseason game. Really no two ways. He's never played a game in an NFL uniform. JP, I don't think there's any way to guess at what he'll do. But I'm excited. He's got a big arm. It's something new. I think I've sensed some excitement in the fan base just because they get to see something new. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, Frank, is this still Gardner Minshew's job when he's healthy?
You know, that's a great question, Mike. I don't know the answer. I would say this. I would say let's assume he's down for a couple weeks and Jake Luton plays very well. Then I think it's a coach's call. Now, I don't think that means Luton necessarily plays, but I think if Luton plays well, let's say they win today. And let's say he has moderately good stats and plays well again next week. No, I don't think it's an automatic that Gardner has the job. I don't think it's an automatic that he does, and I think it's a coach's decision at that point. If Luton struggles and looks overmatched, then once Gardner goes back in, Mike, if he does, then it's his job the rest of the year. But if Luton plays well in a game or two without Gardner, I think it's a coin flip.
Frank Frangie with us from the broadcast booth. Back in Week 5, the Texans won the game, of course, against the Jags. Few Jaguars defensive players were out, but they got a couple takeaways in that football game, and they were in it for a good bit until the later stages. And now the Jags have some starting defensive players coming back in the fold today. But the question I asked those guys earlier, and I'll ask you here, is it enough to stop the 30-point trend? Because that has to slow down for any success for this football team to be had.
You know, to my eye, JP, Deshaun Watson doesn't look like the same player he was when he had DeAndre Hopkins. They say, well, no duh, nobody would be because he may be the best receiver in the league, and I get that. But it's different. When he has carved up the Jaguars, and he's played very well, gosh, there's been so many naked boots and getting him out of the pocket. The game in London, I think that's all they did is they ran him out. They moved him out of the pocket, and he made some plays on the run. I think you got to keep him in the pocket, and I think if Jacksonville's able to do that, yeah, I expect this to be a close game. And I think if you stay in the game, look, back to LUTON, too, for a second, JP.
Yeah.
What you don't need is you're down 24-3 middle of the third quarter.
That's right.
Well, then Jake LUTON has no chance. Keep this thing close to where the whole playbook stays open, and then you have a chance. I think the Jags have a chance in this game today. I really do.
So, Frank, to that end, how important is James Robinson in the big scheme of things today?
Critically important, Mike, not just as a runner. Obviously, again, you got to keep the game competitive to where he can be a factor. He can't be a factor in a 24-3 game when you have that deficit in the third quarter. But I think you're going to see a lot of him. Here's my guess on LUTON. My guess is you're going to see a lot of check downs, swing the ball out of the backfield to the running back, a lot of draws. I think that's what you're going to see. I do think you're going to see some shots down the field, Mike, but I think it's going to be early in the progression. I don't think he's going to do a full field read and then throw a 35-yard ball downfield to his third guy, right? So there may be some balls down the field, but for the most part, I think you're going to swing it out of the backfield. You're going to run draw plays, and that means, to your question, a whole lot of James Robinson. He's critical in this game today.
One kind of away from the X's and O's here, back-to-back days, there's been a game at this stadium today. Of course, the cocktail party yesterday, Florida-Georgia, Florida with a big win. Rain in and out yesterday, overnight again last night. I think it's coming and going a bit today as well. From your vantage point, I know it's up in the air a little bit. How has the field held up?
You know what? I worry about it, JP. I'll be honest with you. This isn't like pre-COVID when by now we would have walked on the field, right, and actually seen it. Now we can only see it from the press box. Those are the new rules during the pandemic. But just looking at it, I think it's a concern. I'd be naive or disingenuous if I said it wasn't. It looks like there's some sand fill-ins, almost like divots, almost like the second day you play a golf course, JP, where you see where they filled in the divots with the green sand. Only here it's kind of white sand. So, again, I'm far from an expert on this. I'm just sitting in our broadcast position looking at it. But to me, it looks like there's going to be some areas of concern. How that affects it, I'm not smart enough to know. Will guys lose their footing? I think if it doesn't rain anymore, it'll probably play fine. But to the eye, you can see some areas where you certainly can see they played on it yesterday. That much is for sure.
Yeah, and if I remember right, this is the first time this has happened. I don't think either the Jags have been in London or have been away the day after the Florida-Georgia game. I can't remember a time where they played the day after.
I can't either. We talked about this during the week, too. In Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh plays their home games there, so they have some back-to-backs.
Yeah.
In Tampa, USF plays their home games there, so there's some back-to-backs. So there's some fields that are used to this. I'm sure they try to avoid the back-to-backs as best they can, but I can tell you, both in Tampa and Pittsburgh, they have some of those. But I think those fields are used to it. And the way fields drain today, this isn't a field of 25 years ago. Fields drain so well today, JP, and they're in such good shape, and groundskeepers are so good today that I don't think it's the problem it would have been years ago. But I agree with you. I can't remember a lot of back-to-backs in this stadium either, so we'll have to kind of see.
All right, Frank, let's stop the slide today and get a W.
I'm all for it, boys. Thank you.
Frank Frangie joining us from the broadcast booth. Yeah, Nick Fedewa and the crew do a great job with the fields here, the practice fields, the game field and everything. But a big challenge today. And they, remember, they've had concerts here, and then not long after that had to redo part of the field and get that ready for a game, and it's always held up very well.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Mike DiRocco of ESPN tweeted out a picture this morning that it's hard to see them, but he said if you're able to lay your eyes on it, you'll see how many divots are really out there today. So it'll be interesting to see how it looks on TV.
Well, I mean, for 50 years they played on infield cutouts around the league in different places, so I think we'll be just fine today.
Sure, and they also played without helmets at one point,
That's
probably
true.
too.
That's
so
an excellent point.
Times change.
Yeah, that's right. The Flying V was once an offense as well. Let's come back in a moment. We'll hear from the Ozone. Jaguars.com senior writer John Oehser joins us live. The Jags have launched predictive gaming exclusively in the mobile app. Choose a bingo card, pick your favorite 3 players, and place wagers to win prizes in the mobile app. Check it out right now. Texans Jaguars coming up, and this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You won't find a better deal to keep your ride clean than Scrubble's Flexible Service Car Wash. Start in the tunnel wash and experience state-of-the-art equipment while enjoying a soapy light show. Our quality soaps and solutions keep your vehicle streak-free. Every 3-minute car wash package comes with self-serve vacuuming, lint-free towels, window cleaner, and a free air freshener. Visit us at the St. John's Town Center, Fleming Island, and Atlantic Beach. And coming soon to Kernan and Atlantic. Trust the bow tie. You'll know quality once you arrive. Go Jags!
Now more than ever, the Jaguars want to recognize our fans and everything you do to make football, well, football. As part of the NFL Fan of the Year contest, the Jaguars are searching for one extraordinary Jaguars fan whose positive influence inspires others in Northeast Florida through their love of the game. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 55. Visit NFL.com/Fan of the Year now to nominate yourself or others for a chance to win.
Committed to the team, committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch. An online or phone chat for those quick questions. And a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
You're working from home. So how do you connect with coworkers and clients? With RingCentral, the #1 global communication solution for business. RingCentral makes talking, texting, collaborating, and video calls easy. And it's all on one platform. And when we say everyone should be connected, we mean it. It's why we're giving RingCentral free to educators, health providers, and nonprofits. Learn more at ringcentral.com. Welcome to the new RingCentral.
Final moments of the Publix Tailgate show. The Texans and the Jags coming up at 1 o'clock at TIAA Bank Field. Time now for a traffic update presented by Geico. Saving you money on car insurance has been in Geico's playbook for over 75 years. So what are you waiting for? After the game, get a quote at geico.com. Note coming over the Hart Bridge. Of course, the expressway from the Hart Bridge to downtown is no longer there. So 2 lanes move into 1. You'll have to move into the right lane to come off the Hart Bridge, either right by the stadium or go on up MLK Expressway there towards the interstate. That's the only way off the Hart Bridge. Don't go the other way. It's not allowed.
You'll see the cones.
You'll see the cones and the barricades and everything.
I was there about 3 hours ago, and it was just fine.
Correct. And then coming over the Main Street Bridge, they'll have cones out there coming in as well. 25% capacity today. Parking lots are distanced as well. So take your time. You got plenty of time.
You get right in and out, no problem.
It was just fine yesterday, in fact, too, for the Florida-Georgia game. So same idea today. Time now for a visit with the Ozone.
The Ozone.
A guy who loves sitting in traffic is senior writer, Jaguars.com, John Oehser. Hi, John.
You're wrong, by the way, about the Hart Bridge, JP.
Am I?
There are more ways off. The ways you cited are the only safe ways off.
Okay, true, right. So, gravity at some point will always win.
I drive it every day, and there are other ways.
There are.
Speaking of which, the Jaguars play the Texans today.
Yes, 1-6 football teams going at it today, and obviously the big story is Jake LUTON in for Gardner Minshew today. I'll ask you the same question I asked Tony and Jeff and Frank and those guys earlier. What can you expect really from Jake Luton today?
Well, it's kind of funny, JP. You know how our work week goes. You analyze from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then on Saturday, you sort of get away from it a little bit. You watch some college football. So I actually woke up today, hadn't thought about Jake Luton in a while, and thought to myself, wow, there's a new quarterback playing. So it does give you some excitement. It does give you some, something else to watch. I don't agree with those people who think that they're going to come out and sort of protect him. I think the reason they went to him, the reason there's some excitement, is that he can throw the ball downfield. I don't think you necessarily come out and turn in the first 3 drives, I don't think you hand it to James Robinson every play in that. I think you throw some play action, you throw it downfield. That's what I would expect to see, because if you don't do that, then all of a sudden you're facing these bunched up defenses that you've been facing the last few weeks with Minshew. I don't know what good that does you.
Yeah, and John, I don't know what good it does in your evaluation of him
right.
if he's just checking it down at James Robinson. I'm not saying you don't give him a couple of easy passes to get his
Correct.
feet wet and, get him comfortable, but why not let it rip? What do you have to lose at this point?
Yeah, I think JP asked me earlier in the week or somebody, well, isn't there a risk of doing this with a young quarterback? You're 1-6. There's no risk. Just play. And if this guy's capable of being in the NFL, then he can make these throws. He may make a mistake. I think the key today is keep those mistakes maybe to 1 turnover, to 1 bad play. You can overcome that. If you have 2 or 3, then obviously you have no chance. But keep it to 1, and in order to keep that to 1, you have to let him throw early when the Texans don't know he has to pass. The easiest way for a quarterback to start making a million mistakes is if he's in 3rd and 7 every drive and always throwing into 3rd and 8. So let him throw on 1st down, let him throw on 2nd, let him see what he can do.
Texans have a bunch of guys out on defense today, though, John. Of course, the linebackers have COVID issues there. The starting corner is out, so that's got to help matters a little bit, right?
I guess. I'm not trying to be snarky about it, but for 7 weeks you've sort of been looking for things for the Jazz and the other team. I still think it's more about the Jaguars playing well. But, yes, not having Merciless certainly helps. You don't have to worry about 2 edge rushers off the edge who can disrupt the game. But the Jaguars still have to play well. There's still enough weaknesses for the Jaguars that they need to play better than what they have so far for the first 7 games to beat the Texans, mainly because Deshaun Watson in this passing game are very capable of ending the game, so to speak, or disrupting your game or beating you. So, yes, a very injured team. But this was not a great Texans team 3 weeks ago when they played, and they handled the Jaguars easily. So Jaguars need to play well.
So, John, look, Jaguar fans are excited, I think, or at least curious to see Jake Luton play today and what they're going to get. And it is something different in a season in which they've lost 6 in a row. What else do you think the Jags can hang their hat on in terms of something that if you're saying here's what the fans have to look forward to in the second half of the year, this is it?
Well, I think the offensive line has been better than it gets credit for. I think a lot of the sacks, it's running the ball very well, meaning the Jaguars' offense. The sacks, I attribute far more of the sacks to Minshew holding the ball and to them trailing by double digits a lot, or by deficits that you have to try to make up. So I think the offensive line, something you get your hat on. If I still believe that if they get good quarterback play, meaning pushing the ball downfield, this is an offense that can be more functional than it has been. On defense, what do you look forward to? If Miles can be healthy, if Jared Wilson can be healthy, if Josh Allen can be healthy the entire rest of the season, and C.J. Henderson, well, then maybe there's 4 guys, 1 on each level, who can play at a really high level. When that happens, you get some playmakers involved, maybe some turnovers, and you can start competing. That's not a very optimistic way to look at the defense, but I'm not sure how else to look at the defense right now.
All right, John, so here we are, Week 9 after the bye week, and the schedule coming up is very difficult as well. Just
not
to throw
easy,
something
JP.
else onto the pile here. That's it's not a favorable schedule, let's say that.
No, it's not. But it's also the NFL. I'm not saying I'm going to favor him to go and beat Aaron Rodgers or to beat Roethlisberger, but you did see during this 6-game losing streak, when you have a streak like that, there's a perception that you didn't have a chance in any of them. I would say they had a chance in 3 of those games, if they had taken advantage of opportunities when they were there. Possession on the opposing 20,
Yes.
didn't stick it in,
Yes.
opportunities lost. That can happen against good teams too. So they're going to have their chances during this, juggernaut schedule. It's just going to be a matter, can they make the plays when given the opportunity? I think that's true no matter if you're playing a good team or it's a quote-unquote bad team. So I don't think they're going to win very many of them because the quarterbacks on the opposing team would dictate that they're going to come out of those with victories. But I think the Jaguars are going to have chances.
All right, Johnny, have a great day today. We'll look forward to your writing after the football game today, and always a follow on Twitter. Have a good day at the office.
All right, JP. You guys too. Thank you.
John Ozier, senior writer, Jaguars.com. And the Jags have the Texans today at 1 o'clock. We're an hour away from kickoff. When we return, network coverage begins with Countdown to Kickoff. Pete Briscoe, pride of the Jaguars running back Fred Taylor, and we'll have the final word with head coach Doug Marrone as well. The Texans and Jaguars coming up, and from TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.